Hello, welcome to White David Garden and Worm Farm. How are you guys doing today? It's a beautiful day outside. I won't say nice, but it's quite beautiful outside. But unfortunately, I can't be out there today. The weather is not very nice at all. Okay, hi, Cece. Yes, we're not having very nice weather at all. It's hot, a little too hot for my liking. So, how are you guys' garden coming on? Are you having fun in the garden? Are you pleased with what's going on in your garden? Or are there things that you would like to see change in your garden? Well, my garden, it's not the best that it could be, but it's not the worst that it could be. So I am thankful and disappointed at the same time. Oh, hi, Han White. Okay, your garden is not doing too bad at all. Okay, that's great. Yes. For the most part, my garden is looking okay. I was expecting a bit more from my sweet potatoes in terms of how the plants look or in terms of how fast they grow. But I guess I have to be reasonable because they did suffer a lot due to the fungus knot issue. So naturally, it's going to take a good while for them to recover because they were damaged to the point where a lot of them were close to dying. So I guess I have to be thankful because they're still here. They're looking healthy now, but they're just small. Oh, hi, Healthy. Yeah, so they're looking healthy now, but they're just not growing as fast as I would expect them to. Of course, I don't know what they're doing underneath the soil. They could be making me some nice sweet potatoes already. Who knows? It will be interesting to see what happens with them after all that they have been through. And my romaine lettuce that I'm so looking forward to. I didn't plant a lot of them. Well, I have a few I have a fair amount that is germinating at the moment, but the first set that I planted, I'm a bit saddened because they all got eaten down by whatever it is. I can't see them. I just know that you go there and pieces of the leaves are missing every day you go. Pieces of the leaf, more and more of the leaves are missing. So I don't know what is eating them, which is the bad part because if you don't know, you can't treat. So I went out today and looked at them and saw that there is not a single leaf remaining. The funny thing is that the soft tissue of the lettuce is gone, but then the rib of the lettuce is there. So whatever it is preying on the tender part of my romaine lettuce. Hi, Russell. Yes, I was asking how you guys garden are coming on, if you're pleased with what you see going on in your garden or if there are things that you'd like to see change. But the good news is my potatoes. The potato bugs, it's been a week since I've seen the last bug and since I've seen the last egg, so I'm quite happy. Still monitoring it, but I'm quite happy that I haven't seen any in a week. So I guess it's fair to say that I have them under control for now. Let's hope it stays that way for the rest of the season. It is a task going around searching for these bugs. But anyway, my corns are looking quite nice. I was surprised. I went out this morning and looked at them, and I think maybe they're almost double the size that I saw there day before yesterday. I don't know if I saw them yesterday. I'm not sure. But they're looking quite good, so I'm not too I'm happy for that. Yes. Hi, Leafy Wiggy. Okay, thank you, Han White. Too hot for me. Couple peppers are popping out. Oh, nice. The peppers are popping out. Good. Yes. LP says, good job with those potato bugs. I saw this pretty little red moth flying around my summer squash. Well, I wish I'd squashed it when I had the chance because that is a squash borer moth. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't get to squash it before, eh? So are you having squash borers now? Okay, so you say there are little red moths. So I shall be on the lookout for that because this year I have far more squash growing than my previous years. So I'm gonna have to be on the lookout for those guys. I picked loads of tiny eggs off the underside of so many of the squash stems. At least I'm pretty sure those were its eggs. Oh, okay. Well, at least you get to reach to the eggs in time. Hopefully, you got all of them. Okay, and White, your sweet potatoes are doing well too. That's excellent. One in container and one in the ground. So, is there any difference in appearance with those in the ground compared to those in the containers, or are they both doing the same? You see, LP says it reminded me a lot of a hummingbird moth. Really pretty. Oh, never heard of that. Hummingbird moth. Interesting. Another something to research. Yes. They fly around it, then land on the base and deposit eggs. Okay. Yeah, I'll be on the. Hi, wood chip gardener. You're live, eh? That's good. Yes. Yeah, so I have a little bit of disappointment with the garden, the state that it is in now, but overall it is doing pretty well. It is picking up quite well. So how is the weather in your area? Um, are you having good enough weather for your plants? In my region, we are experiencing drought. We've been experiencing drought from the start of the spring until now. Oh, hi, Hiko neighbor. How are you? It's been a while. Yes, we've been experiencing drought from the moment spring started until now. But I don't know, occasionally we get a little drizzling of rain, nothing to talk about except for once that we got a few days of on and off rain. But it has been pretty bad where the drought is concerned. But this week we are experiencing heat wave like I have never seen before. I heard that in Vancouver the temperature went up to 50 degrees Celsius today, not Fahrenheit, but 50 degrees Celsius. Oh my goodness, I would just die. I've never experienced anything like that. Woodchip Gardner says it's extremely hot. Okay. Yes, we have our heat wave started sometime this week, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is supposed to be the worst of it because they say we're going to have like between 36 and 38.5 degrees Celsius. So I'm not looking forward to it. I can already see signs of my plants suffering, even though they are moist, but we'll see. And White says, my shop bought tomato seeds that I planted in March are doing great too. Nice. They had fungus a few weeks back, but I got it under control with baking soda spray. Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay, record breaking heat you're having too. Where are you, Woodchip Gardner? Okay, you're praying for rain, Eco Neighbor. Me too, desperately praying for the rain. Um, I have been watering with the tap and with my rainwater, using them alternatively. But I'm concerned because I'm running out of rainwater. We only had 1 day of good rain, and my tanks are now I'm down to 1.5 tank of water, so I'm concerned. Yeah. It's a good thing though that last year I spent some time and had some wood chip mulch to my garden, because it is helping me with maintain a bit of the moisture in the garden. So thankfully it's not as bad as it would have been had I not used the wood chips. So I'm thankful for that. I was complaining about the wood chips after I had it because it's kind of cumbersome when you have to be moving the wood chips out of the way to plant, but I think the benefit outweighs the drawback. So, yeah. LP says, I'm so sorry you're in a drought. We hadn't had rain in a couple of weeks, and now we're getting rain every day. Today wasn't so bad, but we were supposed to get more. Okay. Well, I'll take the rain any day over the heat. I was complaining the few days that we were having a few drizzle. That's why you cannot please mankind, because we complain when as long as it's raining or it's hot at the time when we don't want it to be, we will always complain. But yes, I was complaining because I was working outdoors and I needed dry temperatures in order to work, as my tools can't work out in the wet. It wasn't even raining heavily, but now here I am begging for the rain. Hopefully the heat wave will bring some rain right after. Let's see. And why it says the one in the container wasn't doing well in the ground. So I put it in container and it is looking much better. Okay, great. Oh, hi, Rodney. How are you? Good evening, White Davy. It's been a good bit of water lately. Thunderstorms in southeast US. Okay. It's either one extreme or another across the globe, isn't it? It doesn't seem as if anybody is getting a nice, nobody got a nice spring, as far as I know. And it doesn't seem as if anyone is getting a nice summer. It's just from one extreme to the other. But I guess that's life. We just have to deal with whatever comes and hope for the best. But it is so difficult to make plans for the weather where your garden is concerned, because last year it was too cool all year round. So a lot of the plants weren't happy because we didn't have enough heat last year. And so all of the plans that I made in the fall is to ensure that this year, if it is too cool, then I can take steps to keep my plants a bit warmer. I didn't make any plans for if it gets too hot. So now it is too hot. It's just one extreme to the other. Yeah, I guess that's life though. Okay, LP says, good work on white. Okay. The one in the grounds look rather healthy. Okay, that's nice. Wood chip gardener says single seed challenge is sad. Yes, mine is very, very sad. I can't even tell you just how bad mine is, because I'm gonna be doing an update on it pretty soon, if there's anything to do an update on, but I'm going to be giving an update, the final update on it. Yeah, I'm quite disappointed, but you win some and you lose some. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to do your best, whatever you're doing. You just have to make sure that you did your best, so that if things don't go the way you want them to, at least you can be satisfied that you did your best. But that's the most we can do. LP says it started to rain this afternoon, so I went out with some dry fertilizer so the rain would wash it in. But then it stopped raining. The rain is bad mine. The rain didn't want you to fertilize. Let's see. Okay, and White, you're having a lot of rain. Okay. Oh, hi, Matt Bajan. Glad to make another live. Yes, that's scary hot. In Ontario, we had little rain till just the other day. Washed out a lot of gravel driveways. Oh, so you look like you got a lot of rain then. Yeah, that's good that you got the rain. Sad that the gravel driveway got washed out, but we desperately need some rain at the moment. Okay, Eco neighbors, you're having misty rain at the moment. Nice. I would take anything I'll get. Mist or heavy. Okay, so you are in Northwest Washington and you're having extreme heat. Okay, smart move. Okay, LP says, wood chip gardener. That's very sad. My single seed challenge is one of my squash being visited by the squash borer moth. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's hope you can get that under control before they destroy that. Yeah, since as it is your challenge, you have to do your best to keep it going. Okay, Vancouver is close to you. Okay. And right says we had rain all of last week, this week, and next week too. Wow. Can you send some of it my way? Doesn't have to be a lot, just send whatever you can. Let's see, LP says, and white. We're having much the same weather then. Like she said, I was complaining about the heat, and now I'd like a little less rain. Yeah. Okay, you're not complaining on white because your garden is happy. Yeah, I think my plants are waiting on that rain to make. You know how when you water with tap water, it doesn't do so well. And even if you catch the rainwater and water with it, it still doesn't do as well as if you get the actual rain on your plants. So I think my plants are waiting on that nice shower of rain so that they can just perk up. But anyway, they're not doing too badly, so I guess I shouldn't complain. But I'm having problems with my lettuces, all the various lettuces that I've planted, and I guess the cool weather crop on a whole, it's too hot. It's too hot for them, I guess, because we weren't expecting anything like this. But again, that's just life. Mark Bejan says, frog pond was so dry, the lily pads looked gone. Oh, that massive rain brought the pan back, and the lily pads kicking in literally a night and a day, it seems. Frogs back too. Okay, that's good. That's good. Those lilies and frogs must be very happy. Let's see. LP says, yes, you're right, and white. I'm grateful it is doing all the watering for me, except now I have biofish mix just sitting there. Yeah. LP says, that's great motivation. Russell says, we do the best we can with what we have when we can. So true. So true. LP says, I feel good about getting all those eggs off. With all this rain, it is huge. And there are little baby squash. I'll send you some rain too. Okay, I'll take all the rain you can send. As long as it's not enough to damage my poor little struggling plants. Okay, you love the frogs. It's just yesterday my husband and I were talking about frogs when we were small. I never thought of myself as being cruel, but my husband said I was cruel because the frogs used to, we had this dugout in the yard when we just moved to the country, and there was always water in there, and there's always frogs in there, and they used to make these terrible noise. And I'm not used to that because I'm from the big city, so I'm not used to all that noise and stuff. I used to go out there and throw the salt on the back of the frogs. Yeah, that was cruel indeed, but I'm older and wiser now, so I wouldn't be doing something like that. But not to mention, they would help with some of the pests that is bugging the garden. Is it too late to start your single seed challenge over? I don't know if there's a time restriction on when to start the single seed challenge. In terms of growth, the time that it would need for those plants to produce, then yes, it would be too late, unfortunately. So if I was starting over with some different type of plant, then sure, but not with the potty. But there might be some hope, so I'm going to be doing a video on that. Maybe that should be tomorrow's video. Yeah, I've got so much to do. I just finished my project and I was quite happy because I'm like, yes, I can take a week off and get some things, get my channel organized again, once again, since as it has been struggling. As you notice, you haven't had much of my educational videos. And then I got another project to get started on, so I don't know. I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and just sacrifice some more time and get it organized because it's killing me the way it is now. I'm just putting out some little videos that are not really all that. Yeah, that's not what my channel is about. So I'm gonna have to work on it. I promise you guys I will do better. I will definitely do better. LP says, no, I don't think there is. Oh, okay. No, not salt and frogs. Ah, too funny. Yeah, I thought it was funny then, but I was doing it because they were constantly there bugging me with all that noise. And then I was, to be honest, the main reason why I was salting them is that I was afraid of them because we were told by the locals in the area that the liquid that the frogs have in their stomach, if they spit it in your eyes, you will go blind. So I was afraid of them, so I tried to get rid of them with the salt. That was the main reason, more than the noise. LP says, I'm pretty sure the rules are pretty relaxed. You even could start a totally new plant, I think. Yes, I could definitely could start a new plant. The only thing I'm concerned about is whatever it is that I'm gonna be starting, it has to be something that can reach the maturity date by the end of August. And July is just in a few days, so I don't know. Unless it is something in the lettuce family or something of the sort. But yeah, I don't know. I'm quite disappointed with how the single seed challenge turned out though because I was growing the Portugal and it's the first time I'm growing Portugal in this region and I was looking forward to having a really nice harvest. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And White says, if you don't hear me, I'm off to bed. I have an early start tomorrow, but I'll allow the live to play. Okay, have a good night, my little sister. Enjoy your sleep. Okay, LP says, root vegetable or greens, maybe. That's a bug bummer. It's not working out for you. Yeah, sad, but what to do? Your videos are. Oh, where did it go? Come back here. Hey, I was reading that. Your videos are wicked good. I'll watch same way, but I'll say I do really enjoy seeing the way you use space in the garden. I guess you really like the way I use the space in the garden because you talk about it quite a lot. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the most out of it since as I cannot take up any more space in the yard. I'm running out of space, and I think my kids, especially now that they're gonna be home for the whole summer, they're gonna need all the space that is there to run around and make noise. If they get to go out to make noise with all this heat that we have been experiencing. What are you having the best success with? My peppers seem kind of stunted since transplanting. Those I grew from seeds. I'm having the same issues with you, like you, LP. My peppers, even those Scotch bonnet that had reached their mature state before, I guess maybe because they were too old when I transplanted them. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe they were too old to be transplanted, so they're not happy. They're growing. I don't even know if I could say they're growing. The leaves are falling off. They're sending out lots of tiny branches. So what I find is that for those five Scotch bonnet peppers that I had, I transplanted three of them into the main garden, and I have two remaining in containers. The one of them that was in the container was kept indoors most of the time. So when I was hardening off plants outdoors or in the garage, one was kept indoors. That was the best looking plant. Now it is the worst. In terms of the size of the plants, it would have been the biggest, but most of the leaves are gone off it. And then the other one that I allowed to remain, it is looking good. It has three peppers on it, and I see it is flowering again, but it's still not looking as happy as it should be. And then the tree that I transplanted in the main garden, one has pepper on it, one single pepper, and the rest of it is just the leaves. Most of the leaves are gone. They haven't grown an inch since I've transplanted them, not even an inch. And all of the areas where the leaves fell from, it is trying to send out branches or stems. Yeah, so I'm not sure what to do, if I'm to take those stems off and let the plant try to grow some more, or should I take off a few of them and let some remain. So I'm just running some experiment with them. So for one plant, I take off some of the new stems that are growing because it is growing on the lower part of the plant and not at the top of the plant. One I'm going to allow all of the new growth that is growing on the lower part of the plant to stay. And then I think maybe the other one that I haven't touched yet, I'm going to take off everything that is growing on the lower part of the plant and see what happens, because I'd like to know why it is behaving like that and what is the best option for it. But yes, my peppers are not doing good. Even the ones that are were transplanted at a reasonable time, so they weren't too old, they are growing rather slowly. The tomatoes were planted at the same time with the peppers, apart from the Scotch bonnet peppers. My tomatoes are 3, 4, and even 5 times the size of my peppers. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them, but the peppers are not happy. I thought they would be happier since they're getting the heat, but they're not as happy as they should be. LP says, I was so anxious to get them planted, I forgot to put Epsom salt to help with the shock. I think they are putting on some growth now, but hey, okay. Well, that's good. At least they are doing well. Yeah, the Epsom salt does help, but it's not really that you have to use the Epsom salt, because most of, I think this year and a few plants last year is the first time I'm actually using the Epsom salt to transplant. And all the years, in fact, I think this is the worst year I've had for gardening, and last year was the worst. Last year was the worst because of pests. This year is the worst because, well, pests is involved this year. But then the plants, the weather is just not good for the plants to do as well as they should. So, yeah, I think this year is going to be my worst garden yet. And to think this is the year that I did the most preparation for. I think that's what makes it so disappointing. But what to do? I think must be great to not have to mow the lawn in back. Yeah, it's nice that I don't have to mow the lawn in my backyard. But then the weeds are trying to take over. My seeds, I've reseeded the backyard like 3 times already, and there is nothing to talk about. I don't know what's going on with the grass seeds. I don't know if maybe because we're not getting enough rain, or maybe I'm not watering it enough. I know I'm definitely not watering it enough, but I watered it, I covered it to maintain the moisture. Even with doing that, I'm still not seeing a lot of germination. So I'm not sure what's going on with the grass in the backyard, but it's nice that I don't have it to cut. The front lawn, it was looking good, but with all the work I have to do, it got a bit neglected. So occasionally I give it a water, try to water it at least once a week. And it's not too happy with me at the moment, but I'm gonna do a little better. LP says peppers can be tricky. We're very much in similar places. I'm hoping more rain will wash in this biofish, and maybe that'll help. They're apparently heavy feeders. I don't think my peppers need any more food than they have there though, because as you know, I added so much compost to my garden that I'm afraid to do anything else right now because so many of my plants got burnt when I initially started transplanting. So now I'm not doing anything. Although the worm casting won't burn it, the plants, I'm afraid to put anything else there because the plants have more nutrients than they actually need. But I'm thinking maybe I should use the worm casting because then worm casting is good to help for helping plants that are struggling. So I still haven't made any worm tea for this season yet. Hopefully by weekend I can get some in. Bayesian says, I see a lot of people who done garden lots over the years. For sure, you jump in most of the space you have. Great work. I get to work on people yard and garden, but have zero time for my own. Don't worry, when it comes to gardening, you're not alone with not having time. I am struggling to find time to tend to my garden. And then because I'm growing so many different varieties of vegetables that I have never grown before, because I have so many different varieties, so they require different care as they face different challenges. And I can't find the time to be out there looking after them the way I should, which is one of the reasons why I think my garden is not looking as good as it should. Hopefully, I'll get some time on my hands sooner rather than later. LP says, wow, your tomato sounds great. My tomatoes are better than peppers too. I found a variety of Scotch bonnet seeds that aren't hot. I'm learning to like a little more heat, but I don't heat super hot. Okay. Okay, Leafy Wiggy, you had to water your special plants back now. Okay. Yeah, with all this heat, I have to be watering twice a day. So in the early morning, I would go out and water, and I try not to get the water on the leaves of the plant. And then in the evenings, or should I say in the night, I go out and water again because night here, it doesn't get dark until 11, and it's just as hot. It's just barely cooler at that point in time. So I have to be watering the plants. I gave them a good dose of water this morning and I went out there a few hours before the live and I looked at some of the plants and I felt so sorry for them because they were just folding up, trying to protect themselves. Hopefully, this week would be the last of the heat wave for now. Morgan asks, grass versus weed. Which would you pick? I'll pick the grass. I can always cut the grass. The weed can be rather annoying. The grass is annoying too if it grows in the wrong area, but the weed, I don't want it anywhere, whether the wrong area or the right area. The only good thing is that my weeds don't go to waste because I find ways to compost them. So all that nutrients that they rob my other plants off, I'm taking it back from them. But Beijing says, I'm in pots, but my scotch bonnet doing well, and I'm trying ghost pepper. Oh, it's supposed to be very hot. We Bayesian like hot sauces on everything. Mustard based hot sauce. Oh, okay, nice. Russell says, yesterday I had to cut 80 to 90% of the growth of two tomatoes. Oh, they were already breaking branches. Really? Wow. Twisting and splitting. Sounds like they're doing pretty well. That's excellent. He says, oh, that's right. You had that burning issue. I was going to ask about that. Could it have been something toxic in the compost because didn't you say you got it from source outside yourself? I don't really know if there is anything toxic in it because the compost is made from people in the community who don't compost. So they would take their yard waste to the compost depot, or they have compost bin that trucks come and pick up and take it to the compost depot and compost it. So it's possible that some people, well, a lot of people here will use fertilizer on their lawns and stuff like that. And then if they're taking these clippings to the compost depot, chances are it could have traces of that in there. And that is the drawback with using compost from other areas because you don't know exactly what is in it. When you make your own, then you know exactly what you're getting. Yeah, so I don't know if there's anything toxic in it, but I definitely know that the ratio of compost to soil in my raised bed is way too high. I know definitely that it is too high. And I know I have way too much compost in there. So yeah, but the plants, those that got burned, most of them, as you know, died, and then some of them survived. But the ones that survived, they aren't doing so well, except for the beefsteak tomatoes. They are doing quite well. They're all of a sudden they just make a nice big growth in the last week or so. So they're looking quite nice now. I guess one of them seem as if it is actually going to start blossoming. So I can't wait. LP says ghost peppermint Bajan. Never had them, but have heard that they are dangerously hot. Let us know how they turn out. Says I made hot sauce and I'll be using ghost very sparingly for sure. Yeah. And get some sugar or some honey when the pepper gets too hot. Oh, hi Melanie, how are you? I was just thinking about you today as I look at that letter that you sent me with the um, rapini seeds. I haven't planted them, to be honest. I haven't planted them because I'm out of space. I don't know where to put them. And if I am to be even more honest, um, I have been taking out seeds because some of the plants are dying, and I have been re-sowing seeds. So I have quite a mess with my seeds scattered across the table, and I don't know where the rapini seeds are at the moment. So I haven't planted. Oh, I should try to find those, and maybe I could use that for my single seed challenge since as it's the first time I'd be growing rapini. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna try that. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I'll find it pretty soon. The letter is on my desk, so I'm assuming maybe the seed should be somewhere on my desk if the kids haven't moved it. Let's see. LP says, Bayesian, you might enjoy red giant mustard. Their leaves can get spicy like horseradish. Okay. And I found the flower stems before they get tough are spicy too. It's a new favorite plant for me. I've never had that. In fact, I've never really planted or had mustards. Horseradish, I think I tried it once years ago, but I've never grown it. But I've never really tried eating it after that. No particular reason. It's just that for me, I tend to stick to what I know. So I haven't tried it, but it would be interesting. Bejan says, "Oh, LP, I was looking into that. Thank you very much. Ars radish is another favorite of mine. Thank you very much. I'll check it out." Hi, Speak Your Piece TV. Your sweet banana peppers are shriveling up. How can I fix this? There are several reasons why plants shrivel up. Some of them I don't know because I too have plants that are shriveling up and they don't fit into any of the criteria that I know for why they are shriveling up. So if your plant is not getting enough water, they will shrivel up. If you overwater them, that can cause them to shrivel up too because they can start dampening off or they can end up with root rot, especially for the more mature plants. The younger ones have will dampen off. And if it's too hot, if the weather is too hot, that can cause them to shrivel. If you have too much fertilizer or too much compost, that can also cause them to shrivel up. If you have certain pests like fungus gnats that is eating the root of your plants, that can cause your plants to shrivel up. Sometimes you can have pests on your plants that you cannot see with the naked eyes, and as they suck the juices from the plants, that too can cause your plants to shrivel up. So there are quite a few reasons why plants will shrivel up. So I guess you would have to monitor the conditions that your plants are growing in, and based on what you observe, that is what you're going to use to determine the cause, and then you can go into treating the problem. So if you find that you're overwatering, all you have to do is just allow it to dry off a bit before you actually water again. If you're underwatering, then naturally you water a bit more. If it is the case where you're having pests, then you're gonna have to try to figure out what type of pest you're having and then treat it accordingly. But yes, I a lot of my plants, especially my cucumbers, they just shrivel up for no reason. Well, they would not shrivel up for no reason. They shrivel up for no reason that I can figure out on my own. Yeah, so they're just, I don't know what's going on with my cucumbers that I started from seeds indoors. They were looking quite beautiful. They grew until they were about 3 to 4 inches, and then all of a sudden, everything just started shriveling up. They were getting enough water. I wasn't overwatering them as far as I know. Um, they were getting enough sunlight. I didn't see any sign of fungus knots on them. But for whatever reason, they just shriveled up and they all died. I didn't have one remaining out of them. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out. There's so much to learn with gardening because no matter how much you know, you'll never know enough. Because sometimes existing problems are there that you don't know. Sometimes there are new problems that plants face, and it is to find out what these new problems are. But yeah, I would like to know what it is that caused that because I've always started my seeds indoors. Now, mark you, this is the first year that I've actually started so many things indoors, and it's the first time I've ever started so many things indoors so early because some things I started as early as last November, like my sweet potatoes and my scotch bonnet peppers. I started that in November. So it's the first time I'm starting so many things indoors, but I've always been starting things indoors. But this year, a lot of the things that I started indoors, most of them did okay. Some of them would have been okay had it not been for the fungus knots. And then some of them I can't explain what happened to them. They just died just like that. So I guess I'm gonna have to do my homework. Hopefully I'll be able to figure it out so that next year I won't have the same problem. But I've already taken steps to control the fungus knots because I was bottom watering. So I wouldn't expect there are some plants that because of the container that they're in, I wasn't able to bottom water them. But then even the plants that I was bottom watering, they too had fungus knot issues, which I was not expecting. So I've already taken some steps to ensure that the next set of plants that I start indoors next growing season will not have that issue. So I'm going to be creating an environment for them so that no insects can't get in, and if they do, it's only a few of them. My patient said, "Speak, yo. Watch this is the best place to get info you need." Oh, thank you, Bejan. That's so kind of you. I guess Helpy agrees. Helpy says, and they're pretty plants. Mine were green and purple. Okay, nice. I've only seen them on videos. I saw, what's her name? Peggy, Grow What You Got. Yeah, her videos, she grows those mustards, those red mustards. So that's the first time I've heard of it when I watched her videos. Super easy to grow, highly recommend. Okay, maybe I should try that next year. Melanie says, I already reap all of mine because it started to bolt. Oh, so it's one of those plants that will bolt too. Okay. At least you were able to harvest. Yeah. Nothing in the lettuce or the well, not lettuce, in the brassica family I've not been able to harvest yet. Everything is growing rather slowly and I think it's because it's too hot. Oh, Melanie says I have two scotch bonnet. One is doing well but the other one not growing. Okay. Yeah, at least one is doing well, so that's good. Hopefully you'll be able to harvest from it. Hopefully the other one will pick up as well. You're welcome. Speak your piece. Leafy Wiggy says, I need to fertilize my peppers and tomatoes tomorrow. They're growing way too fast for my pots. Oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't, mine that are in the pots, the tomatoes are growing fast, especially those in the pots. But the peppers are growing rather slowly. All my peppers are growing slowly. I don't know. I don't usually grow peppers here. I've tried twice. So 2 seasons I've tried to grow peppers. Wasn't successful because I started them a little too late. So I really haven't had much experience with growing peppers in this region. But They are growing slowly, so I don't know if in general peppers grow slow here or what's the story, but they're growing slowly. But at least they're starting to pick up now, so it's not too bad. Yes, Macbejan, I agree with you. That's a very nice problem to have indeed. Very nice problem to have indeed. And I find that the sweet peppers tend to, they're able to withstand the changes in temperature better than the Scotch bonnet peppers. And they tend to grow faster than the Scotch bonnet peppers as well. I have a chili, balm chili, that I'm trying for the first time. The two plants, and they're growing rather slowly, so I don't know what's going on with them, but we'll see. We'll see what they're up to. So for those of you who live in regions that experience really hot weather sometimes, how do you go about protecting your plants from the heat? I know it is recommended that you water them before the time get hot, but when you're in the middle of a heat wave, I guess it would be hot day and night. Even if it is cooler at night, it would be still very hot. So how do you go about protecting your plants? I've never really experienced this level of heat, so I'm not really sure. I know that you can use shade cloth to cover your plants. I don't have any shade cloth because I was preparing this year to deal with the summer being a little too cool for the plants. I wasn't preparing for heat. So I don't have any shade cloth. And they said you can use fleece or burlap or roll cover to protect the plants from heat. But I have a little bit of burlap. It is not enough to cover even one of my raised beds. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing to protect these plants, but I think they're going to need all the help that they can get. This is the craziest year for a first year gardener. Yeah. And you know the funny thing, I'm just hoping that people who are planting for the first time, and if they're experiencing weathers like these, that they won't give up, because nothing tried, nothing done. So don't give up. There will be years that are good, there will be years that are bad. It's always like that. Everything in life is a cycle. So if things don't work out the first year, don't give up, just keep trying, because it will get better. And the more you try, the more experience you get. So the challenges as they come, because you have experienced them before, then now you'll be in a better position to handle them the next time around, which is one reason why it is such a good idea to keep a record of what you're doing, so that you can say, okay, I faced this problem last year, this is how I handled it, and if I handled it this way, this method didn't work, so I'm going to try this another method next year. Yes, it's a good idea to keep records, and I need to take my own words because I've been so busy that in the last couple of weeks I haven't kept any form of records, and I'm doing things and I'm saying, okay, oh, that's simple, I'm going to remember it. But then as soon as I'm ready to jot it down, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't remember what I did here. Yeah, but anyway, let's see. Okay, you don't live in any super hot area. Okay. Leafy Wiggy says, oh, I read that one already. Melanie says, I don't do anything. I just give it a good soak late in the evening. Oh, okay. Okay. I guess I should follow you then, because I know that Toronto or Ontario get a lot of heat wave in the summer. So if you do nothing more than just water, I guess that should be fine for my plants then. Hopefully so. LP says, That's great advice. I've been taking pictures in place of journaling, saying I'll write it down later, but I never do. Definitely, there's a lot my pictures can't say. That is true. That is true. But at least by having pictures, you can see at least the problems, some of the problems that you faced, and then you can look into how to handle those. And then sometimes, if you don't have that picture to show you what the problem is, if you don't have any form of record at all, at least with the pictures, when you see the problems, then it might bring back to your memory what you did to overcome the challenges that you face. But if you don't have any form of record at all, then it becomes a lot harder. Malaysian says, I remember we talking about journal. I thought it was such a good idea. I was gonna start one. Was being being the operative word. Was never did it. Well, I started out good. I started out good, but then I got so busy, and that was the end of it. So now I'm in a bit of a trouble because I was looking forward to these records to help me out next year. But anyway, we're gonna see. We're gonna have to see. At least maybe I'm gonna try and make the sacrifice to start keeping more records because it is very important, especially since this year I seem to be facing a bit more issues than I bargained for. Melanie says, That's me. I've never recorded anything. My previous years, no, I don't keep, I've never kept a record either. But then I find that sometimes when I try to remember what I did where, I'm having issues. So now I'm thinking maybe I should just start keeping record because it is important. So, what challenges are you facing in your garden this year? Yeah. My biggest challenge this year in my garden is time. I just don't have time. And I thought I would have time because I no longer have a full time job. So I thought I would have time, but I find that I have far less time now than before. Let's see. LP says, Never too late to start recording. I'm grateful I did last year. If nothing else, it's fun to have the memory. True. Make me feel like a scientist. Okay, scientist, help me. Okay, cabbage, worms, and potato bugs. Those are your challenges. Okay, I don't have the cabbage moth yet. Well, I don't really have a lot of brassicas growing at the moment, so I don't know if when the plants get a little bigger, I'm going to have issues with that. But potato bugs, yes, that was a challenge for me. I seem to have it under control, thankfully. Hopefully, it will remain that way. The drought is the next challenge for me, and the heat. And then I noticed that my plants, some of my brassicas, because I planted for brassicas, I have kale, pak choy, mm, Chinese cabbage, and I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's all the brassicas that I planted this year. But the few little Chinese cabbage that I have, I noticed that they're looking like a sift. Something is just eating through the leaves. And I've been trying to figure out what it is, what's going on. And the same thing goes for my pak choy. I noticed that it has a lot of holes in the leaves. And they're tiny plants. They're so tiny you can hardly even see the plants. And yet still they have lots of holes in the leaves. But then I noticed something consistent as I try to figure out because every time I go there and search for pests, I'm not seeing any pest. But there's one thing that is always consistent, and it is the webbing. So I figured that I might have an issue with spider mites, and it is the type that is so small that you can't really see them with your naked eyes, but they usually cast a web, and that is one of the signs that you have spider mites issue. So During the course of this week, I'm going to have to try to deal with them as quickly as possible before they decimate my poor little plants. Yeah, but time is the biggest challenge I'm facing this year. There's just too much to be done. Anyway, I'm trying to get myself a bit more organized. And it's not that I'm not organized, it's just that there is just too much to do for the little bit of time that I have. Wind, heat, drought, caterpillar, mosquitoes, clouds. Okay, those are the challenges that you're facing, Leafy Wiggy. Yeah. Well, thankfully, I haven't really seen much mosquitoes in my region, so I'm happy for that. Occasionally, I'll see one or two, but compared to the previous years, compared to the previous years, the mosquito population is not too bad. And I guess the drought we have to thank for that. So there's always something positive about bad situations. You always can find something positive. So these mosquitoes, just a few of them. Yeah, when we started out, when I started transplanting outdoors, I saw a few caterpillars, not on the plants, but they would be on webs. But I haven't seen much of them recently, so I guess they all reach their maturity stage and turn into moths or whatever it is that they are. And it says, I went away for a week, and when I came back, I lost 6 out of my 15 sweet potatoes. Oh, I think it was eaten by rats. I'm sorry, my dear. Those little buggers. Yeah, I got myself some rat traps the other day. I haven't set any in 2 weeks, but I got myself some rat traps, 4 of them, and I've been putting them around my compost bin, and I've been putting some close to my worm bins. So I caught quite a few of them, but I need to set up the traps again. But I'm so busy that even something as simple as that I can't find the time to do. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to get on it. But more and more, I'm getting the material ready to actually start making both my compost bin and my worm bins mice proof so that I won't have to deal with those other buggers. But in one of my previous videos, I spoke about flies that I've been seeing in my garden recently, some little green flies, and I was asking what they were. So I did some research on them, and they are called green bottle flies. Yeah, so they are all over my garden because the wood chips that I collected and put in my garden, it is causing a lot of mushrooms to grow in the garden. Don't know if it is the edible type or the poisonous type because I don't really eat mushrooms. I don't know anything about mushroom except that some is poisonous. So I don't know what type of mushrooms they are. And when I pluck them out, I noticed that there are a lot of maggots in them. So obviously the green flies are laying in them. Yeah, so those are the next things that I have to deal with because they're all over my compost bin as well. Mark Bajan says, I find with wind, mosquitoes not so bad. Yeah, they usually get blown away. I took a bite to my eyelid by either a mosquito or a deer fly. My eyelid blew up. It's not a laughing matter, but I'm just trying to picture. Osh, my dear, I know it's not a laughing matter, but I'm just trying to picture it, and as I try to picture it, it seems funny. Okay, so you're having cabbage worms and poor planning, timing wise. Okay. LPs. Not Russell says good mites live in the soil. Good mites on plant lay eggs at the intersections on the stems. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I have any good mites. It seems as if it is the bad ones that always tend to show themselves and the good ones stay hidden. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess as my brassicas grow more, I'll be able to see more of what's going on with them if they get the chance to grow more with these pests. So I'm gonna have to treat the plants as quickly as possible. LP says, and still unidentified pests chewing little holes in my plant, especially the amaranth. Still haven't figured them out. Oh, okay. Yeah, try some worm tea and see if it helps. And I need to take my own advice and try some. Yeah, try some worm tea. Let's jot that down. Worm tea for my cabbage. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna try the worm tea first on my Chinese cabbage to see how it works with these pests. If the plants are gonna improve. Let's see. Melanie says, "Thank God they're growing back from the stem." Okay, nice, nice. Rosa said, "Bud mites lay eggs on the underside of leaves or in the plant." Okay, so you're giving us a comparison. So the good mites lay their eggs at the intersections of the stems, while the bad ones tend to lay their eggs on the leaves because they're feeding on the leaves. Oh, okay, it's a nice comparison. Nice way to identify which is the good one and which is the bad one because, to be honest, once I see eggs, it doesn't matter good or bad, everything gets crushed because I don't know what is what. Macbejan says, did it look like you got in a bar fight? Oh, Leafy Wiggy asked Macbejan if it looked as if he got into a bar fight. Macbejan says, oh no, it was funny. It's okay to laugh. Almost 2 weeks for my eyelid to return to normal. Wow, that's a long time. What kind of what kind of bugs bite you right on your eyelid? You sound like a Jamaican with that bad word there. Yeah, but anyway, I'm not gonna read that word. Yeah, exactly. What kind of bugs choose to bite you on your eyelid? Maybe the bugs wanted to make people have a good laugh. I don't know. Oh Lord. Let's see. Wood Chip asked, "Do you live near a farm? I think the flies are there because I have them." Oh no, I don't live near the farm. I'm living in this disgusting city. I wish I was on a farm. I hate the city. It feels like a big prison. That's what, well, all of Canada feels like a prison to me. But anyway, I'm living in the city with all the restrictions you can't. And when I say restrictions, I'm not talking about the pandemic, but you can't do this, you can't do that, you can only do this, you can only do that. So yeah, I wish I was on a farm because I'd have a little bit more freedom. And then with my worm farm, I definitely need more space. And for gardening, I definitely need more space. Yeah, I wish I was on a farm. Yeah, I don't know where these flies came from. They just showed up like that. So I don't know if maybe some eggs were in some of the compost that I collected, or they usually can find their way anyway. So I don't know. I'm not sure how their population got started, but here we are. I'm having them. So I'm gonna have to find some way to get rid of them. So I'm thinking that after I've harvested my compost from outside, I'm going to be putting the same mesh hardware cloth around the compost bin as I put around the worm bin. And then I'm going to also be putting some of those window screen fabric around it so that the flies can't get in so easily, because I don't want to play a part in breeding them. Of course, I don't know how the window screen is going to hold up with all the moisture, but if I don't try, I won't know. And I don't really have usually have a lot of water running out of my compost bin anyway, so maybe the fabric will be fine. But Bajan says, like a lost bar fight for sure. 2 weeks to get back to normal. Oh, But Bajan says, yes, I work and live in cottage country surrounded by nature. Oh, yes, that's the best. Lots of nature around you. That's got to be quite relaxing. Nothing about the city is relaxing. I don't know. There are those who like city life, but I don't think it is for me. Russell says, kissing bugs are so named because they like to bite around the mouth and eyes. I never heard of them, but I guess the name is very fitting. Melanie says, I spend hours checking for eggs every day. Hours? Wow, that's a lot of time. Yeah, I don't have that much time. I wish I did, but I don't have that much time. So well, for the potato bugs, because of how dangerous they are in terms of how quickly they get resistant to pesticide. So my potatoes, I check those daily. But as for other things, other plants, I check them occasionally because I don't really have the time to be checking them daily. Let me see. Matt Bajan says, kissing bugs sound like black flies. They love your breath and love to get caught up in your eyes and under your glasses. Okay. Russell says, I personally feel that a deer fly hurts more than a horse fly. I've never really seen a deer fly. I got bitten by a horse fly once when I went fishing. I wasn't sure what happened to me. I only know that something bit me and I almost jumped out of the boat. That was my first and last experience with a horsefly, and I only figured it was a horsefly because I started noticing that there were a few of them hanging around. But yeah, let's see. Woodchip Gardener says, I live on a farm, but there's a 50-mile per hour road that trucks galore. Oh, must be noisy with all those trucks passing by. Okay, Malaysian says, I agree. The secret is to let the deer fly land, put your hand over it, and hit down. They fly straight up to get away. Okay, nice information to have. Don't know what deer flies are. Are they named because they like to attack deers? Yeah, Oh, well, it's getting to be that time again. My day is pretty much just starting, even though the day is literally ending. I've got lots of work that I need to catch up on. So I will just chat with you guys a little bit further and then I'm gonna say goodbye. So Morgan, what do you do to control those green butterflies? I don't know how well the fly traps would work outdoors. Since as it's such wide open space, I don't know if because they can find so many things to feed on because it's quite a lot of mushrooms that are growing in the wood chips that I have. So they can find food and there's my compost bins that they can find food in. So I don't know if using the fly trap would work because I'm trying to find solution. I need to get rid of them as quickly as possible or at least reduce their population as quickly as possible. So do you usually just let them stay or do you do what do you do to get rid of them? Let's see. Okay, Leafy Wiggy says hockey time. Okay. I'm not into sports. Yeah, I'm not really into sports. I would come last if I was to participate in any sports. Unless it's something, maybe some weightlifting stuff. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, I'm not really a sports person. But enjoy your hockey. Are you going to be watching hockey games or are you going to be playing hockey games? Okay, Russell says, deer flies are bloodsuckers. I should imagine so. Okay, Matt Bajan says, yes, they swarm deers. And that's why deers, mouse, run onto the road, or moose, run onto the road in front of cars. They get heavy. I can use a bug jacket when it's really bad. They can't. Okay. It's that bad that you did actually send them running around. Wow. Poor things. Morgan says, I don't really have them on plants because they're always around the horses. I would just, I tell you, you let them stay and watch them if it is bad, kill them. Okay. Okay. Me too, Melanie. I hope I never come across them. When I went for my break last week, Wednesday that was, yeah, and we were out fishing, and I don't know what type of flies. What type of flies were there? I don't know if it is horse fly or whatever fly it was, but there were some large flies there, and man, they did. Thankfully, the vehicles that were parked along the river had a lot of bugs on it, and so they paid more attention to the bugs. But as the people who were there fishing decide to leave, and as the vehicles leave and there's only a few bugs left, they started attacking us. And it wasn't pretty at all. It wasn't a nice experience at all. But thankfully they went for the bigger guy and not me. If he ever hears me. Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't pretty at all. But the fishing was good. We had fun. We caught some really nice, the biggest walleyes we've ever caught. It was fun, although it was only four fish. Well, it would have been seven, but some nice ones got away. But we got some nice walleye and one pike, or jack as they call them here. Yeah, but it was fun. Anyway, it was nice talking with you guys, and I'm going to go get some work done now. I hope you guys will have a wonderful week. And for those of you who are experiencing severe heat, I hope it will cool down pretty soon. So stay safe, guys. Enjoy your gardening, and I hope to see you again on Friday. Okay, everyone is saying bye. Okay, take care.